right, ladies and gentlemen, that is right. The Big Schwag with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Felissa Rose.
Now, Felissa Rose said to me, folks, she said, Schwag, we travel around a lot together. We've been in a few movies together. You have no time on your hands anyways, but you said, I think I could fit in a little time to do a show where we get to talk about what is going on in our lives, what is going on in the movie business, and especially how horror movies that we both love and are in a few relate to what's going on in the world.
Well, you know what the other thing is? I love Instagram. And people are always like, why do you like IG so much? And I say, because I love documentaries as well. And it documents your life in pictures, in feelings, in where you are in your adventures. And this show is Killin Time Experience because we are actually going to try new things, try new food, music, festivals, little VHS stores, all kinds of adventures that take us to a new dimension in our senses.
This is Killin Time Experience.
What does that mean to you?
We do travel a lot. We do a lot of things together. We do like going out and exploring new stuff. And you have brought me onto this philosophy that we've talked about. Everything is love, right? Especially as I'm getting older. I want to love things. I want to have positive things in my life, positive experiences.
Jason, what about you? What do you think?
Of what? I'm
Killin
sorry.
Time.
I'm over here in my cave.
I love your cave, and we love you.
Got my whole setup here. Checking the mics. Got the cameras.
Yes, folks. If you don't know, that is Jason, our wonderful producer who does this for a living. He's works with a lot of cool folks. Tell the folks at home about you, Jason, real quick.
So I like long walks on the beach.
I knew it.
I just love my dog. So yeah, by day I'm a YouTube video editor, but by night I'm a filmmaker. Dun, dun, dun. Typical LA response to that one. But yeah, no, I'm filming a movie with Felissa in May, and then have another horror movie that I can't really talk about, but that will be literally have the contract that we are selling to a very big horror streaming service. But anywho.
Happiest person right now because of being in here.
Yeah?
Do you feel that way?
I
do. Thank you, Matt, so much.
Oh, no problem at all.
Oh, does this bring you back? Do you feel like you want to cry because it's so sentimental and it's like your whole
I
childhood?
don't want to cry yet, but we're getting there.
Choose 2 movies right now that you would want me to see that you remember as a kid that you just love.
Oh, okay. Back in my day would be Blockbuster. Go to Blockbuster on a Friday and then go get Little Caesar's Pizza, and then we'd go rent a movie. And the first one that I'm looking at VHS-wise that I would have probably picked when I was a kid, probably Tommy Boy.
Oh,
Just because I'm looking at what I'm looking at here.
That's hilarious.
I think it would be Tommy Boy. I love Chris Farley as a kid.
Obsessed.
I was super
Down by the river.
Down by the river.
That was my favorite. I would sit in my room and laugh my ass off. Chris Farley is one of the greatest.
There's another one, Funny Farm.
I'm not familiar with
Oh, really? It wasn't one of Chevy's better ones, but it's good.
But it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Because, So I went to the movie theater to see this. My grandmother took me. And I remember we got our popcorn. It's so vivid to me. We were all the way up in a little old movie theater in New York. And we just sat there, and I read the opening sequence. I was like, oh, this is scary.
All right, here's 2 movies.
Okay.
One is not really horror, but as a kid I remember very much so, and I loved it, with Richard Harris, and Bo Derek, one of Bo Derek.
Oh, Bo Derek.
Yes. Orca.
Orca.
The killer whale.
Yeah, it's funny. We both, that's a phenomenal film.
Yes, that was.
You guys both picked.
That's interesting that we both pick shark movies.
Well, we fish. Killer whale.
We're fishing for a good time.
And then of course a guilty pleasure that I really love, and I watch it all the time. Basket Case.
That's great. I love Basket Case.
If you've never seen Basket Case, Something Weird Video, 20th anniversary special edition.
I love the writer-director, Brain Damage, and Frankenhooker, Frank Henenlotter, who is just supremely outrageous in his filmmaking and a marvelous individual. If you get to see him at a convention, please do, because he's so fun to be around.
I think they did it. I know they did part 2. I do believe they might have done it.
They did a 3.
They did a 3. They did a 3, yes.
Oh, who's talking? Who are you?
Hi,
State your name.
I'm Matt Landsman, aka Matt's Mortuary from Be Kind Video and from Video Archives. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Here's a recommendation I have.
On VHS.
Yeah, this one is signed actually by the lead actor.
It's a camp movie.
I also want to ask you just a little bit about your beginnings. How did you start as an actor?
Well, thank you for asking, young lady. Yeah. Why did it? I grew up watching horror movies. I grew up. One of my first movies I ever watched was Night of the Living Dead, George Romero, 1967, and I was so enamored by it. I think the horror movies take me back when I'm watching stuff like that and the scary stuff. Brings me back to when I was a kid, when everything was safe. Right? I knew I was safe in the house. Get to plop down in front of the TV. Mom may make, I forget, Stouffer's French bread pizzas. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, there's a little blast from the past.
Yeah.
I still think they make them. But I would watch this stuff, The Twilight Zones, Outer Limits, Night Gallery, and it enamored me so much that I said, I think I could do that. So growing up, I was a big jock. I was an athlete, and I did all that stuff and had long hair and loved to go to Malibu.
I need to see that picture.
Yeah, you have long hair. You have long hair.
And I was like
Where's the photo for the long haired swag?
I was a stoner jock, is what I was.
I
right?
love
But
that. Who wanted to be in horror movies?
I wanted to be in horror movies, and in my early 20s, I 21 years old, I went and took an acting class, which I had no idea what I was doing, and it took some time, but eventually I started acting, getting some gigs. I'm a character guy, so I played a lot of thugs, a lot of bad guys, and then I was lucky enough to do my first gig under makeup, which was Angel with David Boreanaz, and I never looked back. I love it.
You're so charismatic. There's no doubt. Like, of course, people just are immediately attracted to you because you are bigger than life and you are so fun. And at the conventions, people love to hang out with you.
Well,
so
and I learned a little bit of that too from my pro wrestling. Right, at 30 years old, I was having a midlife crisis, and I said, I want to do stuff that I like. I loved pro wrestling. I grew up as a kid watching pro wrestling, swapping VHS tapes with the guys in the neighborhood, and some of that stuff was worth gold back then. You had to trade. You had
some
to
of the
trade.
VHS wrestling tapes.
Yes. Not to mention that maybe we'll talk about some of the VHS horror tapes that are worth a lot of dough.
I love it.
But I also along the way got into doing the voiceovers for the TV show Monster Garage. I hosted my own drag racing TV show. Not RuPaul, although I would go on RuPaul.
Love RuPaul. Love Dragula, the Boulet brothers.
Oh yeah.
They're on Shudder. Check them out.
Good stuff. So and then I'm 57 years old now, and it's led us
57 years young, baby.
Yeah, 57 years young, and we're still acting. And one thing about acting, and you and I both know this, is that you can keep doing it. It's not like there's an expiration date.
We're acting like we know what we're doing, but we don't. I always say, fake it till you make it, baby. Because that's what I'm doing. One foot in front of the other. Just try it.
But now let's talk about you real quick.
Well, I was just a little kid in New York who really did love musical theater. So I loved singing and dancing. And at Thanksgiving, my parents would say, sing that Annie song, darling. And I would be like, the sun will come out. But I was terrible at singing and dancing, although I tried really hard to audition for all of the little musicals. Oh, this is funny. All the little musicals in elementary school. And guess who I lost out to? Idina Menzel. So Idina Menzel, who is star of Wicked, she's the marvelous voice we love.
Great voice.
She was 2 years younger than I, and we auditioned for Pirates of the Penzance, and I got to play the Major General, her dad. Isn't there a theme in my life? I'm always the man character. Kind of love that. So she played the lead princess, and I was her father, and we became really good friends. And then I went on to college, and I did study acting very seriously. I went to Tisch School of the Arts, and I went to study at Strasberg.
Classically trained actress.
I don't know. I hardly say that about myself because I'm such a goofball, but I had a great time. And Adam Sandler was a couple of grades above me, and I hung out with him, and I really learned he was all about the fun and the funniness. So I like to infuse that with the very serious drama.
the story about you and one of your famous movies that you've been in, which people recognize you from.
Sleepaway Camp, you won't be coming home.
My first audition, my first movie.
You don't book your first audition, folks, but she did, and it happens to be one of the a cult classic. One of the, if you look in the top 50 horror movies of all time, it's up there.
Which I got over here. Hold on.
What?
What? Jason.
A place for summer, for vacation, but a perfect place to die. Look at that. I bought that off eBay.
Hard to find. The VHS for Sleepaway Camp is very hard to find. I'm not sure why, but it is. And I see them at conventions, and I always say thank you. No, I'm kidding. I'm thrilled to see them. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be in this film. And I was 12 when I auditioned for Robert Hiltzik, and then 13 when I filmed. And it was the greatest moment of my life.
Were you at 12 years old and all of a sudden you get your first audition? Were you scared when you were on the set?
No, because I didn't know anything else. I was a 12-year-old kid. I went in with blue Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. And I said, "Hi, I'm Felissa." And he was like, "Okay," over the top, a little dramatic. And that's how I just try to, I live big.
Yeah.
And then I sat down and he had me just stare into space. And I did. And he and I connected really well. I knew Jason, Brett. I had this feeling. I loved Robert, the writer-director. And when he called and said, "You got the part," it was a dream because I wanted to act. And that's been my whole entire life, was this beautiful adventure that catapulted into other movies and being here with the two of you today.
What in the world possessed you to open a store, especially in this day and age, but a DVD VHS store?
So it was the dream of my friend, Matt Renoir. I can't take credit for coming up with the idea for the store, but he was a DP in the industry and he always wanted to do this. It was his dream to open a video store, and I was a guy that was selling tapes, selling my VHS out there in the wild at all these tape swabs and events, and I was an editor and working in the film industry too. And at a certain point, that's a great one. Chuck Russell, 88, The Blob, one of the best body horror makeup effects.
Amazing body horror.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, but my favorite body horror is Society, by the way, which we screened in here with Brian.
So I had no idea. I mean, maybe because I've been out of the loop a little bit, but I had no idea there was VHS swapping going on.
Yeah. So it was this whole big thing, and I was super involved in that world. And my friend opens this store, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come work on this with me?" And it became this whole thing for us, and we built this, I would say, pretty amazing community of regulars that rent with us. Over 500 people are signed up to rent here. Like, it's all the local Burbank film aficionados and people that buy VHS from us here. It's really become like a spot and a fixture in the community. And in terms of how I met Felissa and doing the screenings and stuff, I was listening to a podcast called Postmortem with Mick Garris, and I just thought Mick Garris sounded like such a sweet person. I was like, I would love it if he could come talk at the video store. If anyone were to say yes to me, maybe it would be him, because he just seems so nice.
Amazing guy.
And he did. And we did this Q&A, and it emboldened me to do more Q&As, and we've done a whole lot of them now. And Felissa has done 2 of them with us.
I pushed myself in because I love you and I love the community he's built and I love the energy, and that's why this is called The Experience, because you should come here. If you're in the California area, please come. Magnolia Avenue, Burbank, Be Kind Video, because this is an experience. You come back together to the sentimental feelings you had when you were young and you went into the store and you got to pull up. We had no social media. We had no phones. What did we look at? The box covers.
I mean, that was it. It was like you said, it was a Friday night. When I was really young, my dad would take us to the video store.
Yes.
You got 15 minutes. I'd always go to the horror section, but it brings you back to when you were a kid, when there was no issues, there was no problem, there was no bills due, right? It was just to be and we might go get, as our producer said, might go to get some pizza after that and then go home. You and I both have been in this business a long time, and a lot of people quit. They get in a couple of years, they realize it's not for them, or they can't stay the course.
Understandable.
It's tough. Listen, it's not. We both of Felissa and myself, and even Jason, we both do a lot of different things. It's not just that we rely on the acting. We do a lot of different things, and you have to be able to. I mean, I used to work at some of the most famous bars in Hollywood because I had to make a living because I wasn't making a living acting.
Sure.
So I was throwing people out of bars.
And it was hard as a kid. When you're a kid being rejected, like, no, you didn't get that. No, you didn't get that. I became terribly insecure and had, it was like crippling for me. It was very, very hard and sort of brings me to a movie that I wanted to talk about today called The Substance.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a
Did
great
it
one.
affect you? Like, because it's a human movie. It's a human behavioral body. It's human on all levels.
I mean, when I was watching, I felt that a lot of, I mean, specifically actors, obviously, but more specific, female actors that have to go through this bullshit because, I don't know, women, they feel like, oh, I hit this age and now it's like, that's not true. I feel like it's not true for women. Women shouldn't think like that because we see like people like Demi Moore that is, getting older but still crushing
Demi Moore
it.
is perfect. Demi Moore is 61 years old and she looks 22.
She looked great.
That's also very difficult. First of all, I started on film 35 millimeter. We all looked great on that. It was very hard to change and to be. No, I think that also caused a big shift in how women perceive themselves, starting with actors. And I love that Coralie Farge. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Director.
Writer-director. She used Hollywood as the example because it's under a microscope, okay? And it opens the film with the star on the walk of, Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
And we are seeing a woman who has become an older woman, although perfect. She's playing a 50-year-old who's perfect. And then she wants to be even more perfect and young and takes the substance. I don't want to give away too much, but we all have felt this way in our lives where we look in the mirror and we're horrified, and it becomes such the most perfect, masterful body horror movie I've ever seen. Beautifully shot, beautifully acted, beautifully written. Not a lot of words, a lot of beautiful colors. Sledgehammers you to the head, the throat, the body until the last frame.
Yes, and Margaret Qualley. Let's talk about Dennis. So here's your three main people in the movie: Dennis Quaid, who does a great job, Demi Moore, who's amazing, and Margaret Qualley. Who, listen, folks, me and Felissa have all decided that if you don't know who Margaret Qualley is, over the next 10 to 15 years, you are going to get to know her because she's a tremendous actor.
She's a goddess.
Can
what
we
do you have to
say
Jason?
she might have stole the show? Did we scene stealer? She's so good, Jason.
She's brilliant.
No, do you guys think that maybe the director casted Margaret because of, like playing into the acting world of nepotism? Because of her parents.
Well, I felt the same way about why did she cast Demi Moore, who is really 61 playing a 50-year-old. And so then you're really not giving the role to an actual 60-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Have we thought about that?
Yeah.
In
Hollywood, why are we not casting the true 60-year-old who has more wrinkles, who has more sagging body parts? We're seeing these ladies fully naked, which, kudos for the beautifulness that's on screen. But we are also looking at a lot of perfection. So what do we have to say about that?
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
No, I haven't. I need to. I watched the movie once because the movie is lengthy. It's like 2.5 hours long.
2.5 hours.
I went in, I skipped the theater, but I was at home and I was like, I'll watch it tonight. I got my couch. I'm ready to go. Here I am. And then I thought that I was going to like tap out because of just being the length of that it is. But my attention span was there the entire time. And it's actually a movie I've been wanting to revisit. If people are worried about watching this movie because of the time length, like it was one of those movies for me that just sped through. The message came across. I thght it was one of the better like David Cronenberg style
body
type
horror.
movies. Body
Very
horror.
Cronenberg.
Love
yes.
Cronenberg.
And such a great homage to The Fly, to The Shining.
Sure.
I have a little picture that somebody sent me, although I can't find it, so take it away, big swag, where somebody, do you like that?
Well,
where somebody said they felt they saw a little Angela from Sleepaway Camp. and I don't know. I have messaged with Coralie over Instagram, giving her huge congratulations and props for her brilliant film. But here is a photo.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Amazing effects in this film. Very society, but do you see like the face?
I see it.
Here's a cover that I like quite a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with. Well, this is the best cover of all time. This is Creepshow. In my opinion, I love Creepshow.
Yeah.
Favorite movie, period, other than Sleepaway Camp. This is another one of my favorites. Chubby. Yeah, I'm sure you know Kelly Maroney.
Yes. Have you had
Barbara
her here
Crampton.
to scream?
No, we actually haven't.
You know what was nice about the VHS? I mean, for a long time, I had thousands of VHS tapes, and I finally, like a moron, got rid of them to make room. And I shouldn't have, because I had no idea that this whole other, world existed.
Well, and they're very collectible, too. The horror tapes, in particular, are worth a lot. I mean, an original Sleepaway Camp, not even like that one we were holding up in here, but an original Sleepaway Camp is like that says media on it. It's like 200. Yeah, which is like, I don't know.
I have a lot of VHS. I do love my VHS. I just love this story. You made it so perfect, so beautiful.
Well, it reminds me of the 80s. It's like you're walking in.
Exactly.
It's a blast from the past. You walk in here and you're instantly transported to your 8th grade year.
Well, we a big part of the business, most of the business is the VHS sales, honestly. More than the money that comes from the DVD rentals. And I think we got 8,000 disc DVD and Blu-ray titles, more than that maybe to rent. But the tape sales are really big now because people love it. It has such a collector's market, and we've established ourselves as like, the place to find the best ones. And it's a small store, but we got it where it counts.
So where do you have to go? Where do you have to go find them? Because obviously you have to replenish your store.
Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. It's like Craigslist. It's sketchy deals out of the back of somebody's trunk. It's eBay. Yeah, it's like buying up somebody's childhood collection. I mean, it's so funny because, we get up there on stage and we do this very, I think, classy presentation. But a lot of what goes on behind the scenes is like, very rinky-dink kind of like sketchy transactions trying to get these tapes on the shelves, like just like meeting some guy in a parking lot off of Craigslist, and he's like, get in the car, let's drive up to my other truck that's full of tapes. Like, I've done things like that.
That sounds like a horror movie right there.
There's no
it sounds like a reality show to me.
Yeah, there's no magic to like people ask me that a lot, like, oh my gosh, how do you get this stuff? It's like you become obsessed and you like put in the work and you just are willing to follow any lead that you can, and then you like build this thing out of it.
Beautiful story.
It is. It's right. It's awesome.
Amazing energy.
Explain to me the Matt Mortuary.
This. So a while ago, I decided to sort of brand myself as Matt's Mortuary because I was posting a lot of horror stuff online, and I didn't want to torture people that went to school with me in high school. I wanted to like give them an out, like, I'm starting a separate account. If you don't want to see this stuff, that was where it was sort of born from, is like, I know that my normal friends are not interested in all this horror stuff that I'm feeling compelled to post all the time. So it was just sort of born of needing like another thing to sort of categorize all this horror stuff.
I wanted to mortuary. I got it. I thought you were an embalming kind of guy.
But it turned into its own little brand, and soon it'll be a podcast, which Felissa has participated in already, even though the episode hasn't come out yet. But yeah, it's just sort of something that I go by online, I guess.
And so thoughtful. Like,
look at, he's got our buddy over here, Derek Mears. And
I found him at a garage sale last weekend.
Tough to find.
Yeah, I mean, for a minute there, I had him in my house staring over my bed like a sleep paralysis demon, but now he's here.
The whole thing we were talking about this because it's Oscar talk, right? The Substance, along with 10, 11 other movies, are up for Best Picture of the Year. Very rarely, Felissa and Jason, do we get horror movies that are up. It's starting to change. It's starting to change. I mean, they have a science fiction Dune Part 2, which is up for Best Picture.
Nosferatu.
is up for best cinematography,
Is it
best costume.
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu. I think we're saying that right. So
Nosferatu.
people, especially in Hollywood now, and for the award shows, they're starting to realize, hey, listen, the horror genre, the science fiction genre, can pull numbers. Folks can make a good movie. They can make a meaningful movie. It's not just.
That's what we're here for.
That's right.
We're here on the Killin' Time Experience
Bam!
talking about how much these films have had an impact on our emotional lives or our social commentary. Sleepaway Camp, I talk a lot about gender identification, sexual orientation, the homoerotic undertones in that film. These are topical right now, talking about them today. They resonate with an audience. This is what the genre brings.
The whole thing, the whole shebang,
The whole kit and caboodle.
The kit. I was just going to say that. I couldn't get it out. Thank you for getting it out. Yeah, so great movie if you haven't seen it, folks. And listen, the same thing we're talking about how women, not just in the business that feel like once they get a little older, I gotta do something. I have to fix things. The guys do the same thing.
You?
Yes.
Wait, let's just get into that.
We
for a
do.
second.
I
Come
do.
on, dude.
I'm ready to get these things gone.
Jason's on his focus. He's like, I'm
No,
21.
He's still young.
I was just looking up more. No, I was
I don't
look-
got a wrinkle on my face.
That's absolutely not true.
He's still
The
young.
wrinkles are coming in as I'm
Please.
getting older.
You're
but
beautiful. You're beautiful.
I know
do
that.
you really feel that way?
Yes, of course I do. Of course we do. A little nip tuck, a little liposuction, a little get rid of these things. I would do it. Now, after watching The Substance, maybe I'm going to think twice about getting that done because you should feel, listen, in a perfect world, I would say this is enough. I'm enough. You're enough. We don't need to do any of this stuff.
I love that.
Let's
Let's all say it together. I am enough.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am
That's
enough.
really
Love
important.
it.
What you say, what you speak to your brain
Yes.
is really what translates into this 3D physical world. So it is important to say good words to yourself. And it took me a long time. So I was super insecure, like very insecure. It's hard for me to even talk about without getting emotional because it was very, very hard. And I felt like until I met our horror community and felt a sense of like community and togetherness, it was like, it doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters because this is what matters. And the connection is what matters. And I've met, all of my really dear friends through the community, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. All right. Now you're gonna make. I'm a
sorry.
6'5", 305-pound guy. I'm not supposed to get teary-eyed on a show unless I'm auditioning for something.
I do want to say I couldn't eat anything during the substance. It made me like nauseous.
Yes.
This was weird because I was trying to eat dinner and I'm like, that rarely happens to me. I like to eat. I like to eat during films. I like to go to theaters that provide food. But close your eyes because this is something I like to eat and I want to see. You could probably tell what it is, but
just let me know when I can open my eyes.
okay. Well, I'm going to just hand it to you and you're going to eat it. And let's see. Normally, this is a snack that I enjoy very much. And I want to, part of this experience is like to really illuminate your senses, right?
Okay.
So is that the right word? Illuminate?
Sure.
I'll just,
I'm like, what do you got over there?
I know. You can have one too.
It's just like
Okay, just try to take one out. Don't open your eyes yet.
Just
Because I want you to put it in your mouth and see if you could probably
She's
feel
giving
the
you
texture.
mushrooms.
Am I on the-
You're about to have
really-
a really intoxicated
He's
mushroom
like,
trip.
what is this? It's so good. I hope you don't. I hope
Do
you're
I
not
have it? Is
allergic
that
or
it?
choke. Or
Oh,
anything.
God.
Is that it right there? Is that it?
Oh.
Yeah. Put it in your
Okay.
mouth. Go ahead. You know what that is? It's so,
Seaweed.
Seaweed.
do
I
you
like
seaweed?
I do, yeah.
Oh.
It is such. Isn't it so good? Do you like it? Enjoy it, Jason. Would you like some?
I'm okay.
I'm
Well, listen,
okay.
being a diabetic guy
Yeah. Let's talk
that
about
has to take insulin, I bet you this is probably pretty good for me.
good for you. Very
And,
good. That's why I brought
It
it.
tastes pretty good. I've never been used to seaweed, but I know seaweed is the new thing.
So I love salt, and I think this is if you wouldn't mind turning does it say sea salt on the front?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sea salt.
And it's just really good, and I like it because
Roasted
it's a
seaweed
healthy
snacks.
snack.
Slim. Listen, I could eat this all day with
Enjoy.
a gallon of
Yeah,
milk,
you
a
can.
gallon of almond milk. But another thing that brings us back to we're talking about the DVDs and what.
Oh,
When
yeah.
when I was a kid, this was the big deal, right? If you could Friday nights, your parents would we'd go to Blockbuster. or we go to another local DVD store,
A mom and pop shop.
a mom and pop shop, and I would go. Of course, I would run to the horror section,
Yeah.
and boy, if you had a copy of Sleepaway Camp, it was great. If you had,
You were like, what the hell is this?
no, I thank God I watched it before my parents did, because they might have gone, oh, I don't know if you were ready for this or understand what's going on in that movie, but definitely a groundbreaking movie for its time. But we would get like Dawn of the Dead. They always put out like an extra 10 minutes, the director's cut. So by the time I was in my teens, I probably had 8 different Dawn of the Dead VHS tapes.
I just, speaking of VHS, I just hooked up my VCR to be projected on my projector. That made no sense. So, and it's just, there's something about, I mean, jumping back about VHS tapes and stuff, there's just something about watching a movie on VHS that not even just feels nostalgic, it just feels right. Just because we see every single imperfections in a 4K release or whatever it may be, and now we have AI coming in and they're tweaking up those imperfections because now we can see them in clarity in 4K resolution. So there's like, I started watching Alien on VHS last night before switching over to the Crush with Alicia Silverstone.
Oh my God, that's a great
Oh
one.
my God, that movie, that may be the reason why I always had a crush on Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
So when stepping into a VHS store, like it's too much fun. I mean, even watching like the old horror movies, I have more horror movies on VHS than I do of anything, because when I was a kid, yeah, that's what we'd do. I'd stroll down and, and like, oh, there's this Sleepaway Camp movie, and then there's the other ones, and then you got the Slumber Party Massacre, you got Friday the 13th, and the box art was art. That's why I have in my house so many horror movie posters, because it's art. It's literally art.
It is. We're going back in time for sure. And I think that's why I wanted to do this, because we have all of a sudden become so captivated by the phone with our head down. And I just want us to sort of, everyone, go to your local video store. They're around.
It's funny how it's like, it's making like this comeback, like how vinyl did.
Yes.
And is, like vinyl.
We have to go to a record store.
Oh, okay. Done deal. but that's like, it's making a 180. Like everything comes back around again, It's like, and vinyl, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, it outsold more than CDs. Living in Los Angeles is great because there's so many record stores.
We can go to Amoeba.
We can go to Amoeba. I love Amoeba. But I feel like the same with VHS. There's just a nostalgic, but also, I don't know, it's just movies play better, I feel, on VHS or on film at a movie theater or something like that, and not.
They feel better.
They do. Feel better,
there's a feeling.
There's a feel.
Yeah, there's a feeling.
So.
But I think what's great about it is we really and truly feel so sentimental when we're in a video store.
Yes.
It is truly the essence of our childhood. I mean, I went with my dad. We had no social media, guys. We had no way of knowing what the movie was really about unless you read it in the newspaper or you talked to your friend.
Strictly the cover.
And you called them on a rotary dial phone. And you went to the store maybe on your bicycle and looked and said, Slumber Party Massacre, Chopping Mall. And you picked Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you loved the art, the beautiful art. Oh, I have to see this. Or the tagline, what? And then you popped it in and you fell in love with it. And you told your neighbor, and then they told their cousins, and then they had a sleepover. And then we have conventions 30, 40, 50 years later, re-evaluating and coming back together for those exciting moments.
Felissa, come on over here. Look at this. So I would definitely be in the pro wrestling VHS days.
Oh.
Right? The Hulkamania, the Royal Rumble, this stuff.
Oh yeah.
This was like my youth as well. Horror and wrestling was the big deal in Northridge, California. So that would be it, and Andre the Giant, Randy Macho Man Savage. This stuff would get worn out.
It's so different in here from when we do screenings because all the chairs are lined up. So this is great. It's so similar to my video store from when I was a kid, having this in the middle.
Yeah, the middle racks are from the A24 movie Maxine that came out last year. We got about 8 or 9 of these from the prop department, and they're so like old video store, they're perfect. And we ended up getting the entire set from that old video store, including the bloody tapes from when someone gets their throat cut.
Wow.
So we have many of these in our storage unit that are like the sort of blood splatter tips. There's a scene where somebody gets murdered in front of them, and yeah, they're still sticky. They're stuck together.
They
yeah.
look it too.
So it's really cool that people think of us, even like big companies like A24 and stuff, when they're doing something tape related, and they come to us, like Lunch Meat and all the companies that produce tapes are aware of us. And in fact, there was like a promo tape that came out for Alien Romulus last year, and they sourced the blanks to make those from us. So it's just, if there's a VHS thing that happens in LA, we get to be involved in it, which is cool.
Can we franchise this?
We would love to expand. I think I'm allowed to say that like we want this store to grow, but an important part of it is that we remain in Burbank, because I think so much of the way that we've been embraced here is because of the Burbank community and like the locals here who love us, and we have such a presence here now on Magnolia Boulevard, and I feel like we're at home with like the other businesses that specialize in horror, like Larry's great store, Blast from the Past, a couple blocks away.
Love Blast from the Past.
Dark Delicacies, which is sadly closing after so long.
Yes.
And the Mystic Museum, and there's so many great businesses down what we call Monster Mile that it's important to us to stay here.
That's
Monster
so cute.
Mile.
Monster Mile. I love that. Well, we love you. Thank you for having us. We just wanted to drop in and say this is extraordinary.
Yes.
And such an experience.
Listen, if you don't come down, Be Kind Video, Magnolia Boulevard, Burbank. You can Google it. It pops up. And what are your hours, just to folks know?
Cool. We're closed on Mondays, and we're open on Tuesday through Friday. Retake that. We're closed on Mondays, and we're open Tuesday through Sunday. On Tuesday through Thursday, we're open from 11 to 7. And on Friday, we're open 11 to 8. And on Saturday as well. And on Sunday, 12 to 7. So the hours kind of vary, but just don't come on a Monday. Store's Instagram is @BeKindVideo. I'm @Matt's Mortuary. And this is the place to find us. We also have a website, BeKindVideoBurbank.com.
Listen, folks, this is what the show's about. We're excited. We're going to do this each and every week for you. We're going to bring you something new.
Eat something, music, go to a restaurant, go to a festival, go to a video store.
You never know where we're going to be. You never know where the Killin' Time experience is going to show up. Could be in your neighborhood next.
What do you think, Jason?
Oh, I love it. I'm here. Me and my dog, my cave. We're
going to come here and watch a movie on that big, beautiful screen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you hanging out with our first episode, number 1 in the book.
So grateful.
Yes, so we're excited. Stick with us. Anything on social media, get in there, click on it. We're always going to be doing so. We're going to have some giveaways. Let me just tell you something. We have one of the superb giveaways. I don't want to give it away. Felissa's seen it. Jason has seen it. We had a
cool.
famous artist, friend of ours, Michael Toth, do something special for us. It's coming. Maybe episode 2.
I know what we're going to do.
Oh, what are we going to do?
So we have about 300 people, I think, on our Instagram.
Yeah.
I
As of
think
right
what
now,
we
yeah.
should do is when we hit 1,000, so everybody start clicking in and joining our Instagram. When we have 1,000, we're going to put everyone's name, all the 1,000 people, and we're going to pick out 3 and they get the prize.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Big Schwag. That is...
I'm Felissa Rose.
And our main man, Jason.
I'm over
Jason
here.
Mayer.
I'm Jay.
It's Killin' Time experience. We'll see you on the next go-around. We'll see you on the next experience.
Bye.